Hi everyone. I am coming to you from what feels like day 8,000 of lockdown. We're still dealing with the fallout from COVID-19. And I'm starting to hear on the news outlets and other people in general just saying that things are never going to go back to normal, that this is the new normal. I actually agree with the definition of the new normal, but not in the way they mean it. So, average person on the street, when they say, "Oh, we've entered a new normal, life has changed forever," they normally mean two things, and both of them I dispute as being normal in any sense of the word. Um, so, while this virus has been spreading, we've been wearing masks and gloves and hand sanitizing like maniacs. And some people are meaning, well, I'm just going to continue living like that because viruses are scary. Viruses have been around for a long, long time. We've faced them ever since you're born. I mean, you're exposed to a world that is full of germs. So for right now, we've taken these extra precautions as we face this new virus. But it's not normal to live like that all the time. So if you're planning on spending the rest of your life afraid to touch doorknobs because there might be germs, or wearing a medical face mask everywhere you go because you're afraid of a virus, you might breathe it in. Um, I could safely say about a year ago, if you had planned on living your whole life like that, you should probably see a therapist because that huge fear of just these invisible germs everywhere might be the sign of a mental illness. So just know that that is not a normal state of being for the rest of your life, this paranoia fear of germs. Again, what we have put into place has been temporary. That is not a normal state of being. Another thing people say, they talk about the new normal. They make it sound like social distancing is going to become a new normal. There is nothing normal about social distancing. Human beings are made to be part of a community. We are social creatures. So to try to tell people, well, this is kind of going to be normal, we're always going to be isolated from people a little bit, or at least just with the people we know, but we're going to be isolated from everyone else. We're always going to stand super far apart. I don't think that is very abnormal behavior. I'm not getting into a debate about like extrovert versus introvert. The fact is, even introverts need some sort of contact with community. In fact, I've been very fortunate in this lockdown that I have a family that I love, but a lot of people are going through this and they are isolated on their own. And that has got to be so incredibly hard to just be cut off from people because we're in quarantine. And my heart just goes out to them because there is nothing normal about that. We are meant to be together. So if you're talking to somebody and they say, well, the new normal is we're going to be all afraid of germs and we're going to isolate from other people, that is very abnormal behavior. And I'm just going to say that. Now, my definition of a new normal that I would like to see happen kind of goes against the tide of what people are trying to say. There are three things I would love to see change. First, because of this massive closure of government buildings, we've seen a lot of kids moved into the home. A lot of them are still being taught virtually, but they're learning at home. Now, somebody once told me that all kids are homeschooled, it's just some are homeschooled full time. And I had a really great high school teacher that told me a school district is only about as good as the community that is supporting it. So even if your kids have excellent teachers, a lot of their learning and development is on the parents. I'm not advocating everybody to homeschool, but what I am saying is we have got to start teaching our children to think critically. I was absolutely shocked just watching generations of people that have been shuffled out of the public school system, not thinking critically about some of the stuff that's happening. I was partially homeschooled growing up, not all the way through. I had a really great high school experience in a public school system, and I had a pretty good education from homeschooling. But so I kind of got a few connections in the homeschool community. And I know a lot of adults who were homeschooled, if not all the way through schooling, but partially. And not one of those people, when all this came out, were running in mass hysteria into their homes. They were thinking, well, okay, let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the facts. Let's analyze this. Let's check multiple sources. There was a lot of critical thinking going on. And I'm not saying that everyone who came from public school wasn't thinking critically. A lot of them were. But I am saying that we need to, as parents, really focus on what kind of education our kids are getting, who is influencing them, and getting them to think critically about things. Another thing I would like to see changed is our support of these news outlets that have just kind of run amok with their facts. They sensationalize news, and I did a whole video blog about this, and you can go look it up. I'm not going to get all into it again here, but we can't support them. The more they make us hysterical and afraid, the more we watch them, which means their ratings go up, which makes them more money from their advertisers who pay for a spot on their channel because they have a lot of viewers. It's a money-making industry. So please hold your journalists to a high standard. So, okay, those are my two things so far. More involvement in how our kids are being educated, more accountability from our news sources, and my last one would be more accountability from your political parties. A very wise man, George Washington, first president of the United States, he was terrified that political parties were going to gain enough power in this country that, as he put it, somebody could prop up a broomstick and claim it was a good candidate, and people would vote for it because their political party, they were either supporting it or they believed the other party had like the Antichrist as the candidate. So they had to vote against that person. So we've seen that happen down through the lines with political parties, and it's become so, they've just become nasty to each other. And we vote for candidates we don't like, but we are like, I know he's not great, but have you seen the other guy? And we just keep doing that, and it gets worse and worse and worse. So we need to stop that, and we need to say, look, you present me with a good candidate, and I'll vote for him. But if you do not present me with a candidate that has integrity and that will stand on things for principle, will be okay voting no for almost every single thing, will stand up and be the only one in Congress that is standing up for something that's wrong. If you do not provide me with that kind of candidate, I'm just going to let you lose to the other party. I am not required to support you if you are providing me with scumbag candidates. And that is what we have to do. We cannot keep supporting this. It has brought us to the point we are where our people in leadership are absolute embarrassments. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I mean, some of the things they say back and forth to each other, I blush. I'm like, I don't want my kids looking up to these people as leaders. And it's a joke, like, oh, politicians, we know what they're all like. But we shouldn't stand for that. And we should never vote for them if they're like that. So those are the three things I would like to see become the new normal. Parents being more involved in how their children learn, not just what the information they're learning is, but the why behind it, like the critical thinking. Us not just listening to our news outlets all the time and actually looking and investigating things, not supporting them by viewing them. And political accountability, that is the major one. When a candidate asks you what you want them to do when they're in office, your answer should be, I want to be left alone to live my life. And if you can get rid of some of these laws, that'd be fantastic, because right now we have a lot of bad laws that are hurting a lot of people. So those are my three things, and I would love that to be the new normal. So when they say the normal's gone and we need a new normal, it would be great if we spoke back and said, we do have a new normal and this is what it's going to be. A lot of people who are saying that in power right now, that's not what they have in mind. But I think as the American people, it's something we can bring about. Anyway, thanks guys. Subscribe to this video if you like it. Give it a thumbs up, give it a thumbs down, whatever you want to do. And I guess I'll see you next time. Thanks.